gave power to the believers in Jesus to overcome the disbelievers. So if the Quran is true, then Jesus' followers prevailed and will continue to do so till the day of resurrection. That means two things. Number one, if they prevailed, then that means their teachings, their message also prevailed, because it makes absolutely no sense to say Jesus' followers prevailed, but his message got lost. How can you be a follower of Christ if you're not following his teachings? So if that's true, where is that message of Jesus' followers? Where is the message of those who prevailed and will continue to do so till the day of resurrection, if not the New Testament? So Omar, do you agree with the Quran? And if so, do you accept the implications of the statement of the Quran that the message and the followers of Christ have prevailed, will continue to prevail, the conclusion being that the New Testament must be that message, because the New Testament is the documents that was written by those who were given victory, and the New Testament message is prevailing and spreading like wildfire all over the world till this day. Do you accept that conclusion?
I accept whatever the Quran says. I accept Jesus.
Excellent.
If I don't accept Jesus, I am not a Muslim. You know.
So do you accept the New Testament?
You're talking about now about Islam is this and Islam is that and the Prophet this. 64 years after Christ, the great fire of Rome happened, okay? And Nero, the Emperor Nero, who did he blame it on?
The Christians, yes.
The Christians. Because the Christians, you know what it is? Because they were, the Christians of those times were believing in the Tawheed and the oneness of the one God.
Omar, can you give us any source saying that these Christians, saying that the Christians that Nero wanted to persecute believed in Tawheed? Can you give us a source? Any source other than some horrible website where you're usually getting your information from? Because I'll tell you right now, you're not getting pretty much anything you've said. You're not getting any of it from any scholarly resource. I know you said you're not a scholar, but whatever your level of learning, you have to go to accurate sources. Think about this. If I just go to what I find about Islam on some random website, I would come away with a really bad view of Islam. If I'm just going to believe what I find on some random website criticizing Islam, I'm going to come away with some very bad things about Muhammad. I've seen things about Muhammad being homosexual. I don't believe he was, but I've seen things about Muhammad being gay and having homosexual affairs and all kinds of things on the internet. Do I believe them just because I read them on the internet? No. We have to go to reliable sources. Now, we have to go on to other callers, but I'll just ask you one more time. You've said that the Quran is a miracle. What I'm asking for is evidence, not some blind claim. Now, what's the difference between you saying the Quran is a miracle, or me saying, no, the Bible's a miracle, or me saying this bottle of water is a miracle? What's the difference here? What is it that makes this book miraculous? Is it because it accurately predicts the future the way the Bible does? Is it because it's prophesied in earlier books the way the New Testament was, the way the New Covenant was? Is it because it's accurate on science? Is it because of its literary style? What is it? Give us something very specific here, some piece of evidence that shows that this book is a miracle.
It hasn't been altered or changed. It has. You may say it has 7 different scripts, 7 different dialects. It's recited in 7 different ways, okay? But it has not been changed. It has not been altered. When King James translated it from Aramaic Greek to English, he said the Lord vested the power in me to change it from Greek Aramaic.
Wait. Who said this? Omar, who said this?
King James. The King James.
Could you give us a source on that?
Yeah.
Show us.
Come on.
Show us. No, tell us, because again, no one says this. This Bible right here it's based on manuscripts that came long before King James. So if this Bible is translated from manuscripts earlier than King James, 1,000 years, more than 1,000 years before King James, how could King James have influenced this? It's impossible. Unless you believe King James had a time machine and went back more than 1,000 years before his time, then there's no way he could have influenced these manuscripts. Do you not see how absurd your claims are?
Omar, your Quran says that your Quran was being corrupted in the lifetime of Muhammad.
1591.
Surah Al-Hijr, chapter 15, verses 90-91. Here I have the Quran. I'm holding it up so you know that I'm not just quoting out of thin air. Surah Al-Hijr, chapter 15, verses 90-91. As we sent down on those who divided, as have made the Quran into shreds. So your Quran itself testifies that in the lifetime of Muhammad, the Quran was being corrupted it was being tampered with. And then you have hadiths that record passages that are missing and chapters that are missing. But see, again, we're going off topic. Now we're talking about the preservation of the Quran.
Yeah. But notice, because I want to clarify this, because Umar says that he is studying. But notice, for those of you who are watching around the world, almost everything Umar has said has been false, whether he's talking about Christianity or whether he's talking about Islam. He said that Muhammad is known for many miracles. I said, what's your best one? He said the Quran. I said, okay, what's your best reason for believing that the Quran is miraculous? He said it's perfect preservation. Sam pointed out that according to the Quran, Surah 1591, the Quran was being changed during Muhammad's lifetime. But if that's not enough, now let me just go through briefly here, because Umar, notice what we're doing here. You have a belief that is based on what you've heard about Islam. We can show you, because we go to your actual sources and we do careful historical investigation, we can show you that that claim is false based on what your own sources teach. Now, let me go through this very briefly. Ibn Abi Dawud, this is the son of Abu Dawud, of Sunan Abu Dawud. And what does he say about the Quran? He says, many of the passages of the Quran that were known by those who died on the day of Yamamah, but they were not known by those who survived them, nor were they written down, nor had Abu Bakr, Umar, or Uthman by that time collected the Quran, nor were they found with even one person after them. Here he's referring to an instant where Abu Bakr sent all of the people who had the Quran memorized, he sent them into battle thinking that Allah would protect them, so that he wouldn't allow his Quran to be corrupted. And these people were slaughtered, and he specifically says many passages were lost on that day, and they weren't known by anyone else. Now, if we go through, and if you want to call back, you can. But what we find when we examine the evidence, according to your sources, according to your most reliable sources, Muhammad's top scholars of the Quran didn't agree on what chapters were supposed to be on the Quran. You said it's never been changed. Muhammad himself identified his greatest teacher of the Quran as Abdullah ibn Masud. Abdullah ibn Masud had 111 chapters in his Quran. He said that Surah 1, Surah 113, and Surah 114 are not supposed to be in this Quran. How can you say it hasn't been changed? In Sahih Muslim, one of your most trusted collections of ahadith, we're told that 2 surahs came up missing. 2 entire surahs came up missing, and he says that it was because of the hardness of their heart. This is Abu Musa. This is Abu Musa saying this, that they forgot parts of the Quran because of their hardness of hearts. They didn't recite it enough. Over and over again, we find Aisha saying that 2/3 of Surah 33 are gone. They forgot them. He couldn't. Uthman couldn't locate them when he's trying to put together the Quran. 2/3 of Surah 33 are missing. Aisha even said that the verse of stoning and the verse of breastfeeding an adult 10 times, when we read the hadith, these verses were revealed as part of the Quran. They're supposed to be in there. What happened to them? Aisha tells us in Sunan Ibn Majah that she was the only one who had a copy of them. She left it lying on her bed, and a sheep came in and ate the manuscript. This is not me saying this. This is not some bad website saying this. This is Sunan Ibn Majah, one of the collections of Sahih Sittah. Over and over and over.